Hey, Lorain County football fans, welcome back to another year of The Blitz, brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. I'm your host, Rocco Nucci, with Kristen Bauer behind the camera, and we are here live this week at beautiful Elyria Catholic High School on the corner of Gulf and Poplar here in Elyria. We're here at Dan Reeser Stadium, and of course, that beautiful scoreboard right behind us, brought to you by the Kelly family, Jack Mattia, and of course, the Reeser Family Foundation. And before we get into last week's action and this week's upcoming action, make sure you stop by the WEOL studios to get a forecast magazine. The 2022 Fall Forecast magazine is out. Team previews, schedules, everything you need can be found right here in the Forecast magazine. So again, make sure you stop on by the WEOL studios in downtown Elyria and pick up a copy today. It is free. So without further ado, let's get into the week one action. And I think the game of the week happened right here at Dan Reeser Stadium, where the Panthers of Elyria Catholic knocked off Elyria. 14-6 was the final score. It was Elyria Catholic's second win ever over Elyria in the 7 times that they've matched up. Coach Brian Fox was named the Cleveland Browns' first high school coach of the week for the new season. So that's pretty cool stuff there for Coach Fox. So how did the Panthers get it done last Friday night? Well, it was a lot of Levi Ellis, I'll tell you that much, as the young man scampered for 153 yards on the ground. But don't forget about that tenacious Panther defense either, because when it comes to slowing down the Pioneers, that's an easier job said than done with the size and speed at the skill positions that the Pioneers have. You look at guys like Lance Glover, Jasir Lucky. The Panthers were able to contain them this past Friday night, and again, that nets them the 14-6 win over Elyria. A big shout out to the Midview Middies as well. Head coach Luke Beal has his team off to a nice start this year. They are 1-0 after a 21-0 shutout of Rocky River. Impressive stuff right there. Quarterback Mark Reed, he ran for 2 touchdowns. He had 141 passing yards as well, and Midview really controlled the game. 13 straight runs in their first offensive drive of the second half. And that's really dictating control of the game, so I think the Middies have maybe found a recipe for success here in 2022. Also, with a couple of shutout wins, shout out to Avon Lake and Clearview. Avon Lake shut out Strongsville, and Clearview shuts out Parma. A couple of surprising results there, so shout out to the Shoremen and the Clippers for some awesome week 1 performances. And then North Ridgeville, the nobodies, as Coach Brian Morgan will refer to them as throughout the course of the season, they get a massive week 1 win over North Olmsted. 34-21 was the final score there. Again, this North Ridgeville team, not a whole lot of people picked them at the top of the SWC at the start of the year, but they are certainly here to play in 2022. And I also got to give a shout out to Columbia running back Marco Sarigliano. Fantastic name, and he picks up right back where he left off last year, 245 rushing yards in week 1. So now let's go ahead and look at our week 2 action up ahead. The big one for the week, it'll be Medina at Avon, as the Bees will be taking on the Eagles once again here in 2022. I think the storyline going into this one is, how does Medina combat not having Drew Allard this year? The young man's now playing at Penn State. Who do they have left that can go up against the big boys like an Avon, like other foes that they will see in the Greater Cleveland Conference throughout the year? They need a lot of Brennan Schramm, I think, their star receiver, in order to get past the Eagles. And for Avon, look, they were down in Florida last week, supposed to play a team from South Carolina. They get 5 minutes into the game. It gets canceled. Avon gets the forfeit win. But how ready are the Eagles now to take on the Bees here in week 2? It'll be their first real test of the season. I'm curious to see how that plays out. Also, looking at Vermilion at Columbia. How do the New Look Sailors handle a disappointing week 1 loss to Margaretta, as now it's a real tough task with Coach Jason Ward and the Raiders awaiting them this week. Coach Bill DeFucci for Vermilion trying to put his stamp on that program, trying to get things moving in the right direction. He's got a golden opportunity this week against the Raiders. Midview, they're right back at it this week against Strongsville. Can they keep the momentum rolling that they had in week 1? I've got my eyes on Coach Beal and friends here in week 2. And finally, looking at Wellington, their quarterback situation. Senior CJ Poland goes down in week 1 against Western Reserve with an ankle injury. Sophomore quarterback Landon Wright comes into the game and immediately leads the Dukes on 2 scoring touchdown drives. Now, the Dukes ended up losing that game. 21-12 was the final score, but it'll be interesting to see what the sophomore Landon Wright is able to do now that he knows he's pretty much starting here on out for the Dukes. What are the games that you can hear live on WEOL this week? Well, I'll tell you, on the radio and Stream 1, it'll be Medina at Avon. Make sure you tune into that one again on the radio and Stream 1. Stream 2 at WEOL.com. It'll be Sandusky at Lorain. The Titans, a huge week 1 win in their opener against Ravenna. How can they keep the momentum rolling? as they welcome in Sandusky here in week 2. And finally, our Medina County matchup on Stream 3. It'll be Olmsted Falls at Brunswick. The Bulldogs gave the Chardon Hilltoppers, two-time defending state champions, a heck of a game in week 1. They end up losing 14-7, the final score there. In Brunswick, they fell 43-13 in week 1 to Cleveland Heights. So somebody's getting their first win of the season here in week 2. We'll see who'll be on that Medina County matchup, again, on WEOL.com Stream 3. So that'll do it for this week's edition of The Blitz, again brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. We're here at Dan Reeser Stadium at Elyria Catholic. I'm your host, Rocco Nucci, and for our camera woman, Kristen Bauer, we'll see you next week.